The story of education in Latin America is not written in grand decrees, but in the daily work of people like Néstor Pardo. As a Colombian speech-language pathologist, Néstor has spent over 2 decades traveling from Colombia's plains to Bolivia's highlands, Peru's valleys, and Nicaragua's rural heart. His mission goes beyond correcting speech. It's about building community through communication. Néstor learned early that standardized models often fail rural and indigenous populations. This realization led him to become a facilitator and bridge between formal knowledge and ancestral wisdom. His journey is a testament to walking alongside people, learning as much as he teaches. In every country, he immersed himself in local contexts, community centers, rural schools, public health systems. He listened to elders, observed children, and respected linguistic diversity. Néstor's work is a living example of decolonizing knowledge and building education from the ground up. His story challenges us to see education as an act of solidarity, not just technical intervention. The most powerful tool for transformation is listening and amplifying the voices of the territories themselves. In Colombia, Néstor's recent work in Granada Meta stands out. At local hospitals, he helps people reclaim their voices in a region marked by conflict and trauma. His interventions are acts of healing, quietly rebuilding the social fabric. In Bogotá, he worked with Fundación CISPI, focusing on students with temporary educational needs, often overlooked in crowded schools. He built bridges between students, teachers, and families, creating personalized strategies for learning. As a university professor in Pamplona, he mentored future professionals, urging them to ground their work in empathy and social justice. Across rural and urban settings, his philosophy is clear: true education adapts to the student, not the other way around. Presence and accompaniment are at the heart of his approach. Sustainable education is built day by day, through small, meaningful actions. Néstor's journey in Colombia shows the transformative power within our own communities. In Bolivia, Néstor spent nearly a decade shaping public policy and training local workers in early childhood development. He ensured educational initiatives respected indigenous languages and worldviews, building state capacity from the ground up. In La Paz, he advocated for the inclusion of people with Down syndrome, challenging prejudices and promoting full participation. In Peru's Cusco, he worked amid ancient culture, navigating bilingualism and preserving linguistic heritage. The common thread: walking with communities, not imposing external models. Néstor built on local strengths and knowledge, whether coordinating municipal programs or providing one-on-one therapy. His goal was always to foster environments where every person could find their voice. This is the essence of a decolonized, humanistic practice. Education and health are inseparable from cultural affirmation and social justice. Néstor's work in Bolivia and Peru exemplifies this principle. In Nicaragua, Néstor shifted from therapist to community advocate and policy influencer. Working in rural Esteli, he empowered communities to articulate their needs and demand rights for people with disabilities. He facilitated workshops and meetings, turning lived experiences into concrete policy proposals. His role was to catalyze, not dictate, helping communities become their own advocates. Néstor saw that sustainable education requires structural change, resources, training, and inclusive policies. His legacy is measured not by individuals treated, but by communities strengthened. The story is about collective action and linking grassroots work to political change. Sometimes, the most valuable contribution is stepping back and supporting others to find their voice. Sustainable change is cultivated from within through patience and solidarity. Néstor's practice is rooted in popular education, inspired by Paulo Freire. He rejects the banking model of education, favoring dialogue and collective inquiry. Therapy happens in homes, gardens, and markets, connecting learning to real life. His approach is interdisciplinary, involving teachers, doctors, and community leaders. He trains local agents, empowering parents and leaders with skills for early stimulation and communication. This train-the-trainer model multiplies impact and ensures knowledge stays in the community. Education for Néstor is about critical thinking, solidarity, and participation in building a just society. His work redefines education as a liberating, community-driven practice. It empowers people to read their world and write their own history. Néstor's methods show education at its best, transformative and rooted in real life. Sustainability, for Néstor, is not an abstract concept, but a practice rooted in territory. Each place requires its own approach. What works in Colombia may not fit Bolivia. True sustainability means respecting local knowledge and finding solutions within the community. Nestor learns from traditional practices, uses local materials, and incorporates stories and songs into therapy. This validates and strengthens local culture, making interventions more effective. Sustainability is about social justice and respect for biocultural diversity. Well-being is inseparable from the health of the ecosystem. By rooting education in local territory, Nestor helps preserve both culture and environment. We must see territories as living systems, rich with wisdom and potential. When we listen, the territory itself teaches us how to build a sustainable future. Nestor's work embodies the Latin American philosophy of living well in harmony with community and nature. He doesn't impose solutions. He helps communities build their own paths to well-being. His approach aligns with the rights of nature, recognizing ecosystems as living entities with inherent rights. By teaching children to value their environment, he fosters a generation that sees itself as part of nature, not its master. This is essential for true sustainability. Nestor's work offers a powerful alternative to extractivist models that exploit resources and deepen inequality. His community-based, culturally rooted practice builds value from within. It strengthens local capacities, social cohesion, and biocultural diversity. Another model of development is possible, one based on care, reciprocity, and collective well-being. Nestor's journey shows how this vision can become reality. Nestor's career reimagines speech-language pathology as a tool for community empowerment. He practices community speech-language pathology, taking the profession out of the clinic and into the heart of the community. Communication is seen as a collective asset, vital for social cohesion and cultural transmission. In rural and indigenous communities, he helps revitalize native languages and cultural pride. His work builds children's confidence and strengthens their sense of identity. Local health agents, trained by Nestor, now identify communication delays using culturally relevant methods. These are victories for inclusion and cultural continuity. The speech-language pathologist becomes a weaver of relationships, connecting schools, families, and community knowledge. Vulnerable voices are amplified and placed at the center of community dialogue. This practice builds the communicative capacity for communities to learn, solve problems, and shape their future together. Néstor Pardo's journey is a roadmap and a call to action for a just, inclusive, and sustainable education. His work shows that transformation begins with small, persistent acts of solidarity. To students and young professionals, take your learning beyond the classroom, listen, engage, and serve in your communities. Let your profession be a tool for collective liberation, not just personal advancement. We must question inherited models and demand education that is relevant and connected to our realities. Change requires both grassroots action and political advocacy. The transformation of education is a shared responsibility. The future will be built from and for the territories, celebrating diversity and empowering communities. The seeds have been planted. Now it's our turn to help them grow. Let us join the movement and begin today.